We are following breaking news from Rochester at this hour. Good afternoon. I'm Doug Embledge.
And I am Jenny Ryan. We have learned a Rochester police officer has been shot in the arm in the line of duty. Sources tell 13 WHAM this happened after a chase of a homicide suspect. You're looking at the location in the area of Norton and Goodman. Several streets in that area are now shut down as a result. 13 WHAM Sean Carroll is live near the scene with the very latest. Sean?
Yeah, Ginny, sorry, very hectic scene. We were just moved briefly by police to sort of extend the perimeter. Here's what we have confirmed at this time. Behind me, you see the scene here. This is the intersection of Goodman and Norton down there that you're seeing, very roped off, a lot of active police scene. We've confirmed through police sources, although we're waiting for some confirmation from official words, that there was a police pursuit, a car chase, that police were actually pursuing a homicide suspect. That chase ended with a crash, presumably right in this area. After that crash, some shots were exchanged, gunfire exchanged between suspect and police. We know at this time and have confirmed that one officer was struck and taken into the hospital. We have unconfirmed reports, and let me stress this, we have unconfirmed reports at this time that perhaps 2 other people were shot in this incident, a civilian and perhaps the suspect themselves shot. This whole scene has been very chaotic, as you're seeing from some of the video. Police have basically blocked off the entire area near Goodman and Norton Street, and for the last hour and a half or so, been a very active investigation here near sort of the Pudgies. And as we get going here, we're going to drop out of that video as Chief James Shepard is coming over here to brief us live on what happened here at Goodman and Norton. Chief, can you tell us what exactly happened here, sir?
At approximately 4:04 this afternoon, the Rochester Police Department was involved in a shooting with a suspect who was wanted for the double homicide on Central Avenue. As a result of that incident, we have an officer who has been injured. At this point in time, we're waiting for additional information relative to his condition. The suspect was also injured.
And breaking news today from the area of Goodman and Norton Streets in the city, where 3 people, including a Rochester police officer, were shot this afternoon. Good evening. The Rochester police officer was shot in the arm while on duty today. We are told he's going to be okay. We're told it happened while police were pursuing a suspect in a double homicide that happened over on Central Avenue. Now, this happened this afternoon in the area of Norton and Goodman. Several streets there shut down as a result. Now, the suspect was also shot in an exchange of gunfire along with a driver who was not involved. Sounds a little complicated, but to sort all of this out, 13 WHAM Sean Carroll, been live on the scene near where it happened. I know you had a briefing from the chief a short time ago, Sean.
Yeah, Don, that briefing happened about just a half hour ago. Behind me here is the intersection of Goodman and Norton that you referenced. The chief telling us at the end of the briefing that the central scene, really where this all unfolded, is at Goodman and Yates. That's about 3 blocks to the south of here. As you look at some of the video that we've gathered here at this scene, you'll see that it is a very large police scene and investigation. 3 people rushed to the hospital. We are told by the police chief that the police were pursuing a suspect wanted in a double homicide on Central Avenue from this week, and that pursuit ended with gunfire, a brief crash or collision, and then gunfire. Police exchanging gunfire with the suspect, presumably. 1 officer shot in the arm, a suspect also shot, and a 3rd person, a civilian, we're told by the chief, in a vehicle nearby, also struck. All 3 went to the hospital. The chief had this to say about all 3 people that were shot.
As a result of that incident, we have an officer who has been injured. At this point in time, we're waiting for additional information relative to his condition. The suspect was also injured, and we're waiting on follow-up information relative to his condition. An uninvolved motor vehicle operator was also injured in this incident, and we're waiting on additional information relative to his condition.
The chief wouldn't really speculate as to the condition of any of those 3, as you just heard, but he did have this to say. The officer does appear to be alert and talking. That an encouraging sign. The chief and other officers out here optimistic about that officer's condition. The chief also, while not wanting to speculate, gave no indication preliminarily that there was any life-threatening injuries to the other two people, the suspect and the civilian that were shot. That suspect, it should be noted, is considered to be in police custody at this time. This active scene will remain as such for many hours going forward. Police chief expecting a more detailed briefing a little bit later tonight. Don?
All right. Hey, thank you, Sean. Obviously waiting, too, to find out exactly the identity of the officer. We do have team coverage of the incident. Evan White also live at the scene and had a chance to talk to some of the witnesses to all of this today. Evan?
Don, I spoke with quite a few people who say they were in the area when all of this happened, which was around 4:15 from what we're being told. I spoke with a father, also a gentleman that was in one of the businesses nearby, basically telling us this was frightening. They couldn't believe it was happening, and many of them hearing a lot of gunshots. Now, you're taking a look at video that we took earlier on. This, again, in the area of Goodman and Norton Streets. Still a heavy police presence out here tonight. Roads shut down throughout a great stretch of this area. Again, we spoke with a couple of people. Here's what two of them had to say about what they heard and felt at the time when this happened.
And all of a sudden I hear gunshots. It sounded like automatic fire. Bomb, 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 that type of stuff.
How many shots did you hear? You know,
maybe easily 20.
He came downstairs and he told me he heard gunshots. And me personally, because July 4th is right around the corner, I just automatically assumed it was fireworks. And my dogs were going crazy in the house and heard the sirens, and I see traffic coming down my street a lot more than usual.
Now, the mood here a little bit different than when we spoke with both of them. That was roughly an hour ago. A little bit calmer right now, just in this general area. I'm going to move for a second so you can take a look down the street. Cars passing us here. The streets being open a little bit further. When we got here, the area up near that prisoner transport was shut down. There's still, though, a lot of streets that are shut down, and the police chief telling us they will probably be shut down at least till about 8 o'clock tonight. So if you have to come here to this side of the city, probably best to seek alternate routes. For now, reporting live in Rochester, Evan White, 13 WHAM News.
All right. Hey, thank you, Evan. As we said, we have not released the name of the officer, but the officer was taken to Rochester General Hospital. Alexis Arnold is over there at this point. Alexis, what have you been able to find out for us?
Well, Don, we are on standby for that update. But first things first, let's tell you what we do know. An RGH spokesperson did tell us that officer was brought here. He is awake. He's alert. He is going to be fine, and his family is by his side. We've seen several RPD officers, squad cars come in and go. We see Irondequoit police officers as well. A rather medium-sized gathering closer to the building there, all awaiting news and updates on a comrade in the hospital. Again, if you're just joining us, we know an RPD officer involved in a city shooting was taken here. And again, we're told an update on his condition that he is doing okay. He is alert and he is up talking. And we're told from a hospital spokesperson that his family is by his side. We're going to stand by and wait for that update and pass along any information, new information, as soon as we get it. Back to you, Don.
All right. Hey, thank you, Alexis, Sean, and Evan for updating us. They're going to remain in place, and we'll pass along any developments. Just to bring you up to date to this point on this breaking news, 3 people shot, including an officer this afternoon. This happened at Goodman Street and Norton Street. Police were pursuing a suspect wanted in a double homicide earlier on Central Park over the weekend. There was a crash as a result of this. The shootout began. The officer and suspect and a driver all injured in the shooting. Officer, though, shot in the arm, and we are told not a life-threatening injury. As we said, Alexis at the hospital waiting for an update there. Rochester police are planning another update on the situation as well later tonight. We, of course, will keep you updated during this newscast as well as 13wham.com and again at 10 and 11.